On Daf 22 of Pesachim, we get the classic statement that one should not place a stumbling block before the blind. So stumbling block before the blind, what literally that means, like, like placing like a big block of wood or something in front of a blind person so that they'll trip over it and fall. But of course, this is mostly a figurative idea, this idea of the stumbling block. And the Gemara gives examples. So say you've got a Nazarite. This is somebody who's sworn not to have wine, and you pour a nice fancy cup of wine and waft it in front of their nose or something along those lines. The modern equivalent would probably be to be pouring wine amongst you and your friends when somebody is at the table is a recovering alcoholic and is very sensitive to it, and you know that, wow, if this person gets too tempted, they might say yes, and bam, they have one cup. It's going to lead to a bottle. It's going to lead to a second bottle. It might lead to a 3-day bender. It might lead to them breaking their year or so of sobriety and going downhill fast. So that would be an example of a stumbling block before the blind. And it gives another example, which is really kind of the context that we get it in, that getting a limb ripped from a living animal, that giving that to somebody who is prohibited from eating such things. And we say that non-Jews have a prohibition against eating limbs that are taken from living animals rather than killed animals. And so if you have such a limb, offering it to somebody who might then take it and cook it and eat the thing, that is what we call Ever Min HaChai. And it is considered to be a cruelty, something that we're not allowed to be doing. So don't give that to somebody and then tempt them to go eat this meat that was killed in a way that is prohibited. So we need to think about that, putting stumbling blocks before the blind. What are ways that sometimes we can manipulate people into doing things that are not in their best interest? That's what we call a stumbling block, and it is something we need to avoid.